I did this practice after learning about the mass shooting that happened in Las Vegas. My heart was so heavy with sadness and grief. I wanted to do this practice to help shift me into the foundation of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. I started by calling in the priestess mudra to help me feel centered, and then this 6-pointed star representing the masculine and the feminine energy and the merging of the two. Being aware of these two energies within myself was the focus of my practice. Can I acknowledge and feel that current of feminine energy running through my body that lets me be soft and receptive and creative and inspired, while at the same time feeling that stable masculine energy, that solar energy running through my body, helping me feel confident, being able to use my thinking and my wisdom and my knowledge to come into better alignment. The alignment that I was focusing on was using my muscles to support my joints, using my feet, my toes, the ball of my foot, and my heel to help create an arch in the sole of my foot. A lot of injuries like plantar fasciitis happen because we don't use our muscles to support our foot. Our feet become weak, and so we collapse down onto that fascia. So playing with how I use my feet, pressing into the toes and the balls of the feet to create that arch, and also with my hands, pressing into my finger pads and my knuckle ridges to lift up through the heel of my hand to avoid things like carpal tunnel syndrome. Playing with this balance, I even shift forward in that tree or in my lunge and push into my toes to help prevent me from falling. And in handstand, I'm pressing through my toe or my fingertips to stop me from falling over. And I'm really playing with my ability to participate in the optimal health of the alignment through my body. So coming into these balances and warrior through, I lean forward, and it's the action of my toe that prevents me from falling forward. As I play with both of these energies within my body, I'm trying to see that other perspective. So instead of showing up on my mat and always doing the same thing, letting my knees hyperextend and my knees twist and letting the weight fall to the heels of my hands, just that same way I always do things, I'm trying to do the other, see that perspective. Meditation I love to do that I learned from Ashley Turner is to see myself through the eyes of someone I'm in relationship to. So I try to view my life. How would it be to live from my husband's perspective? How would he view the relationship he has with me? How would he view me when I'm seeing myself through his eyes? I also like thinking of this in terms of the body. If I ground myself into my body's perspective, not my mind or my heart or my beliefs or my values, but the perspective of my body, how does my body view the relationship it has with me? How does my body view me? How do I treat my body? So when I show up on my mat, really witnessing my body's perspective, I have so much more compassion, and I want to move in a way that's more caring. In this practice, that's really focusing on my joints. Can I use my feet to engage my calves to keep my knees from hyperextending? You'll see me touch my knees a lot, and I'm not pushing my knees down. That would be moving it towards hyperextension, but instead I'm lifting my knee up towards my finger to help that bend happen. I'll also take my fingers to my sit bone and see if I can move my sit bone back as my knee lifts up to help lengthen that hamstring and not find flexibility through the joints. This flow I was just doing, where I move back and forth through various arm balances and into that seated forward fold, was very much inspired by the feminine. I had written down a plan, and that wasn't in my plan. It just flowed out of me, and I let it. This wild thing to rock star, to Hanumanasana, that's so purely inspired by that divine, feminine, creative energy within my body. So can I do both? In this handstand, again, I'm really playing with my finger pads. And this eagle, tipping forward and then using my toes to help me from not going too far. I'm also really consciously thinking about gratitude every time I touch the earth. Can I have this gratitude for being here right now with the natural disasters going on in the world and these mass shootings and We just live in such turbulent times, really feeling so grateful for everything I have. I was reading about a study that they did, I think, in Wells University, and they were studying people's perspectives. And people whose view on other people's perspective is one that's negative. So if you're driving and someone cuts you off and you're like, that person was meaning to cut me off, they were racing with me, that person's out to get me, those people who make those assumptions tend to be less happy in their life, go figure, compared to people who make the assumption that other people are happy. Those people with more positive perceptions of people, those people tend to be more enthusiastic, more kind, and more happy. So that's one thing we can work with in our yoga practice, is helping cultivate this attitude, this perspective of positivity. I think this perspective, when we also take ourselves into someone else's eyes, into someone else's body, into someone else's mind, it helps us react in more ways. So if we have a closed perception, we only see one way, then we're going to react most likely in one way. But if we can widen our lens and we can view multiple perspectives, then we're widening our ability to respond to a variety of situations. We're taking us out of the feeling of being separate and moving into the feeling of oneness. My whole class today that I did in this practice, I was working towards Pinchamonurasana, that forearm balance, and I was really trying to use my hands as the front of the foot to stop me from falling over, but it was very unsuccessful. I've never been so bad at balancing and forearm balance for years, but I had to let that go. I had to view my body and my practice from my body's perspective, and it didn't want to do Pinchamonurasana. So I waved out my arms like the wings of my heart, and then ended my practice with some forward folds, some mudra, and some chanting. Thank you for watching.